Then this, an absolutely breathtaking flying follow-up of his own missed 20-footer by who else? Larry Bird.
Hey guys, this is Dominique Wilkins.
Hey, this is Sean Kemp.
This is Gary Payton.
Hey, this is Pau Gasol.
NBA fans, what's up? This is Vince Carter here.
Hey, what's up? This is Matt Barnes. If you're an old school NBA fan like I am, make sure you check out the Basketball Time Machine with my man Sean David.
Hello and good day everyone, welcome back to the Basketball Time Machine. My name is Sean David. Thanks for tuning in. Let's talk some old school NBA basketball. In today's episode, I want to talk to you guys about why Larry Bird is still so popular, even though he ended his career so many years ago. But before we dive into today's episode, let's take a quick look at the sponsor of today's video. Today's video is brought to you by Truebill. Truebill is an all-in-one finance platform which helps you to keep your finances under control and to spend less. The personal finance manager allows you to manage subscriptions, lower bills, monitor your credit score, build your savings all in one place. I gotta be honest, before Truebill, I often forgot about certain bills that always seem to come out of nowhere. But now Truebill makes me aware of everything, which helped me to get control over my monthly spendings. They have a great system for canceling subscriptions and budgeting, which I use to know exactly where I spend my money. I am not a pro in such things, but the budgeting is super simple and Truebill notifies me if I am over my monthly budget. If you also want to be in total control of your finances, you should check out Truebill for free if you use my link in the description box below. Guys, don't wait any longer, check it out right now. So, it's kind of interesting to see why I came up with this topic for today's video. I think like 2 weeks ago, I uploaded a video which was called NBA Legends Explain Why Larry Bird Was So Good or Better Than Other Players. And the video had over 1.6 million views in less than 2 weeks. And that just shows how popular Larry Bird still is. And we have to remember that Larry retired, in 1992? So we're talking about 30 years ago. So I came up with the topic and I thought, okay, why is he still so popular? And I have several reasons that I want to talk to you guys about. Now, the first reason that I have in mind is how other NBA legends are still talking about Larry Bird. And I'm talking about the guys who actually played against him. If it is a Magic Johnson, if it is a Dr. J, if it is a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, they all say that he is one of the best or maybe the best player they ever played against.
Who was the best player you played against?
Yeah. The best guy I played against might have been, Larry Bird. Someone like that.
How good was
Michael
Bird?
Jordan.
I don't think people look at him and think, he's a white guy, slow guy.
He's a chubby white guy. He wore us out, man. Because this muscle here, the one between his ears, that was his best, because he made the three-pointers and he had assists and rebounded, steals. He was always at the right place at the right time. On the court, one of the great players, I had the opportunity to play against.
Now, when you have legends like that saying those incredible things of you, obviously, for the younger generation who have never seen Larry Bird play, they have to believe that, okay, if those guys say that he's great, he must have been great. And rightfully so. For guys like me and most of you guys who watch Larry Bird play, we know that this guy was really, really a bad boy. But coming back to the topic, why is he still so popular? It's not only that legends talk about Larry Bird in the highest regards, but it's also that he was able to do things that he probably never should have been able to. How can you be such a sensational player, win 3 MVPs straight in a row? If you're not fast, if you're not quick, if you can't jump high, Larry Bird basically defied the odds and basically was a very, very rare specimen. We're talking about guys like Michael Jordan, for example, who probably, in my opinion, was one of the best athletes who ever entered the NBA. He was able to do things that no other player was able to do. And Larry Bird was basically in the same kind of category, not from an athletic standpoint, but being able to do things that he never should have been able to do. If it is being able to shoot over everybody, doing those crazy step backs, having even some moves that were super athletic, even though he was not athletic. It's just mind-boggling how this guy was able to be so dominant without lacking so many attributes. Then another reason that I really believe is a major point where Larry Bird was, or still is, so popular is his trash talking. I mean, in today's NBA, where you basically get suspended for a couple of games if you only look the wrong way at a certain player, Larry Bird was a guy who could take a player out of his game by trash talking. And some of the things that he has done are so unbelievably great. I mean, telling a guy what he's going to do, like, oh, I'm going to shoot the ball from there. I'm going to run around the screen. I'm going to take the ball there. I'm going to shoot it in your face, and it's going to only be 1 second left on the shot clock. Saying those things and actually being able to back those things up. I mean, who does that in the modern day NBA? And even back then, when we still had so many great trash talkers, there weren't many guys who were doing something like that. And Larry Bird did it countless times. If you go on YouTube and check how many players can actually attest to that and have their own Larry Bird moment where they say, okay, he did that to me. I mean, we're talking about hundreds of stories. So hundreds of stories, Larry Bird saying what he's going to do and actually backing it up just shows what an incredible player he was.
But when you played against somebody, do you remember? Well, you had the Bird night.
I had the Bird night. That was a tough night, man. The biggest argument that night is, well, you only scored 6 on me.
But nobody was guarding Bird, were they?
Well, we were trying.
You were trying to.
No, but when a guy is literally coming up the court, calling his shots, and Bird talked a lot of trash.
And that's in New Orleans.
That's in New Orleans. In that game, we're on the free throw line, and he literally says, left side over across the 3, and you're listening to him. That's a tough feeling.
Then there's another thing that we have to talk about, and this is something which is a kind of a sensitive topic, but I hope you guys understand where I'm coming from. Now, back in the 1980s, the NBA was a little bit more, or the world in general was a little bit more racist as it is today. And back in the days, there were some players who said, oh, Larry Bird is only getting this reputation and this hype because he's a white player. And they used to say that until they played against Larry Bird. If it was Dennis Rodman, who I had on my show, who said that Larry Bird was one of the best players he ever played against, but obviously he had this interview where he said Larry Bird was only hyped that much because he was a white player. Cedric Maxwell, who was a teammate of Larry Bird, who openly said that he believed that Larry Bird was overhyped until Larry Bird actually became a Celtic and whooped Cedric Maxwell's ass. So hearing from so many black guys who changed their mind about Larry Bird, to me that's great because that shows that those players can give credit where credit is due, but it also does a lot to the legacy of Larry Bird. But that's just a tiny point. I mean, there's some other players in the same kind of category of Larry Bird in terms of being a legend even many years later. If you check on YouTube for Pistol Pete Maravich, for example, the guy has been out of the NBA for I don't know how many years, 40-something years, and the guy unfortunately died so many years ago. But he also has millions of views on YouTube. Why? Because his legacy and his legend lives on. And there are just not that many players who have that legacy. I mean, Michael Jordan obviously is probably the most searched NBA player on YouTube of all time, even more than LeBron James and those guys. But obviously, MJ being the GOAT, it's natural that many guys are searching him up on YouTube, especially with the younger generation. They want to know what we old school fans are talking about. But Larry Bird, to me, when it comes to a player from the 1980s, Larry Bird, in my opinion, is the most popular player of the 1980s when we talk about a player that has a legacy which is still going on even until today.
Red Auerbach called this the greatest play I've ever seen.
I want the ball because I'm supposed to produce in situations. Sometimes I do and sometimes I don't, but I want the ball in a crucial situation.
And that's the other forward from Indiana State, 6'9", Larry Bird.
All right, you guys, that was it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed the content. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And even more important, click the notifications button so you always get notified once I upload a new video. See you next time on the Basketball Time Machine.